morning. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. A crisp and comprehensive wrap of all the big movers and shakers today in trade. I'm Mubina Kapasi. Markets have completely ebbed off from the day's high and we are yet again below 11,600. So quite a drop witnessed in the Nifty, and the Sensex too is showing a similar trend. It's flattened out with gains of only 0.06%. The broader markets are still relatively holding on in the green, but those as well have come off quite a bit from the day's high, as you can see on your screens. But let's introduce then our technical guests who are going to be joining in on the show. We have with us Ashish Kyal of Wave Strategies Advisor, as well as Swati Hodkar of Nirmal Bang, and Soumya Sharma, ET Now's research analyst. So thanks to all of you for joining in, and let's kickstart the show with the very first talk. It's got to be all eyes on Jet Airways. Just 14 aircrafts now operating for the airline out of a mammoth fleet of 119 in fact, and that's something that, according to sources, has prompted Jet to in fact even cancel all of its international flights for at least the next 2 days. Lack of planes, lack of money, all of those problems plaguing Jet Airways. Of course, additionally, there's currently that bid for Jet Airways. I wouldn't say it's bitter because not much is seen in terms of potential bidders. This morning's ET has reported that Etihad has finally decided to raise its stake in Jet, but let's see how that pans out. The stock price had taken quite a knock in the early hours of the trading session, but subsequently has managed to recover very smartly. Ashish, today we have the all-important technology names that are expected to come out with their results, TCS as well as Infosys. And technology is really a strong spot of green today in trade. What would you make of the up move, which again has continued in Wipro?
See, overall trend for Wipro had been positive. We have seen a very smart recovery from the lower levels of 260 to the current levels. I think the entire technology space might positively surprise the street, and we can see a positive traction here. So buy Wipro, keeping a stop loss of 275, expecting a target of 298 over short term, and there is a possibility that can be taken out over medium term as well.
Ashish has a buy on Wipro. Soumya, of course, the big news maker for today, TCS. What can we expect on the numbers?
Well, as far as TCS is concerned, it's expected to post revenue growth of 2.1% in constant currency terms on a sequential basis, and with the cross-currency tailwind of 30 bits, it could mean that 2.4 top-line growth in US dollar terms, and the operating profit, that is EBIT, is likely to increase by a similar 2.1% to an approximate value of 9,660 crore, with the margin dipping slightly by over 10 basis points. This is due to appreciation or strengthening of the rupee. Net profit is seen declining by 1.5% on a sequential basis due to lower margins and forex hit. So this is what we're expecting as far as TCS is concerned.
And look at the way this one as well has cracked on an intraday basis. It was gaining close to 1%, but now it's flattened out and it's just marginally in the green. Well, here's an ET Now exclusive coming in on DHFL. Race for the crisis hit DHFL is hotting up because sources suggest that bigger global companies are now joining the... Okay, pardon me, before we go to DHFL, let's address DHFL. Global PE companies are really lining up for a stake in DHFL in order to get its foot in the fast-growing Indian credit market. Now, sources suggest that it's a US PE firm called Lone Star that's currently doing due diligence for DHFL. So that's an interesting development. However, some negative news as well for DHFL, and that's Brickwork has downgraded the credit rating of some NCDs and some sub-debt as well of DHFL. And this is something that perhaps is also having a bearing on the stock price. All right, and moving on to the next stock, Kajaria Ceramics today is a big mover. We are seeing some interesting trends over here. Volumes as well have picked up quite a bit. Swati, what would be your view here?
Yes, Mubina, overall the Kajaria outlook on the technicals parameters is definitely positive. Also the fact that it's just trading in the higher tops and higher bottom patterns. A few days back, last 3 to 4 trading sessions back, we have seen that it has just picked a 52-week high, which comes at around 627 odd levels. From there, we have seen some profit bookings, but at the current level, definitely the view is positive. Once it manages to give a breakout of the same level, 627, I believe that the 640, 650 are the likely targets we can come to see in the 1 to 2 weeks. So those who are having any long positions, they can definitely hold on, maintain the strict stop loss of a 600 levels, which are the cluster support levels on the intraday basis. So one can hold their long positions with a trailing stop loss of a 600 for immediate target of a 640 to 650 on the higher levels.
Right, so that's the view coming in on Kajaria Ceramics, currently at 616 rupees. But on the flip side, we have one stock that's really losing, not just today, but for the last couple of trading sessions, and that's PNB Housing. Ashish, what would you make of this fall?
See, PNB Housing had been under pressure for many months now. It's not new, and it has just finding stiff resistance around 1000 to 1050. It has failed to break that resistance on the upside. The overall trend remains negative for this stock. It's best to use it for shorting opportunity, and it's making lower highs and lower lows as well. So short at the current levels, keep a stop loss of 852 for the target of 786.
Alright, so it's a sell for Ashish on PNB Housing. Well, while PNB is falling, PNB Housing rather is falling, Soumya, today we're seeing quite an up move come by in SpiceJet.
Well, Mubina, it's not just today. In fact, yesterday also the stock was gaining. Well, today, talking particularly, the stock has, the company has inducted 16 Boeing 737-800 aircraft. They've also applied to the aviation regulator DGCA for obtaining no objection certificate for the same. And once this is allowed, the aircrafts will be joining the SpiceJet fleet in 10 days post this nod. Well, the company says that the new additions will not just bring down flight cancellations to nil, but will also help SpiceJet's aggressive international and domestic expansion plans. So what we're seeing is the stock is gaining smartly by over 6.6%, and the volumes are also more than 5 times the 20-day average.
Alright, moving on to the next mover, that's Aurobindo Pharma. Swati, what would you make of the recent move we've seen here today as well? It's declining 1%.
Rubina, if we check the charts, at least from last 2 months, the stock is just trading in a sideways momentum. It's just trading within the zone of a 760 to 805 all levels. So I believe as of now it is into the non-trading zone. Upside, it has just formed a double tops at around 805, 806 levels. Once it manages to give a breakout of that level, then only the fresh buying positions can be seen in this particular counter. As of now, there is a sideways momentum. I believe the profit booking has been seen at 800 all levels. So it's likely to be carried forward, and it will take a support at around 760 support level, which is provided by its 50 days moving average. So at the current level, I will not initiate any long position, but those who are having their long position, they can book their profits, because I believe that the stock may fall down to the 760, 750 levels on the downside.
Okay, 1% of losses for Aurobindo Pharma. The next stock is Infosys, and I think for the first time in a very long time, we are seeing both the two technology majors, Infosys and TCS, coming out with their numbers on the same day. What are we expecting? Well, first up, 2.1% sequential growth on CC terms and 2.3% on dollar terms. But more importantly, and as was the case with TCS, even for Infosys, we are expecting some pressures to come by on the EBIT margin front, along with the entire rupee movement that we have seen during the fourth quarter versus the US dollar. So there is a very high possibility that during, when Infosys will give out its guidance, it would be important to note what do they give out in terms of the EBIT margin guidance, because that in itself would signify a lot in terms of what the company's own outlook is when it comes to managing their costs, especially hiring costs, and of course even on the currency fluctuations. Infosys ahead of its numbers, still holding on to some gains, but again off the day's high. Ashish, Tata Motors today seems to be showing a lot of momentum, and on a month-to-date basis, this has certainly been a big outperformer. Though today, I stand corrected, today it's down 1.5%. What would you make?
See, Tata Motors, after a long time, we have seen some positive movement. It has given a breakout from the inverted head and shoulder pattern, moved higher. There is a possibility we might start seeing it consolidating for some time between the range of 230 on the upside and 190 on the downside. That's the consolidation range. Overall outlook remains positive, and use any kind of a positive breakout as a buying opportunity, keeping a stop loss of 210 over short term, expecting a target of 228, which is the upper end of the range over short term.
All right. Well, moving on, Soumya, why is Morgan Stanley cautious on Avenue Supermarts?
Well, yes, they're cautious and have initiated coverage with an underweight stance with the target price of 1,120 per share. They say that although DMart has a standout business model, the competition in the industry seems to be rising, and retail is becoming an infinite game. Avenue is one of the most efficient retailers globally, but they see downside risk to estimates if price competition continues. So that's what's keeping the stock down by over 1% today.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the next stock, Swati, the energy space has been a buzz yesterday. Today as well seems to be one of the big movers. GAIL is posting another 2.5% gain. So what would you make of this move?
Yes, Mubina, today we have seen a very good rally into this particular counter. It's almost up by quarter to 3% as of now. The volumes are a little bit increasing. We have seen that today the stock has just touched the fit of its 200-day moving average, which comes to at around 352. So at the current level, it might face some resistance level, but definitely if on the Monday, if it's giving a breakout of 351, 352 levels on the closing basis, then the rally is likely to be extended. The pullback rally is likely to be extended towards 360, 365 all levels. So as of now, those who are having any long positions, they can definitely hold on with a trailing stop loss of a 345. I'm looking for a target for a 360 to 365 levels on the higher side.
Right. Well, another big mover is SBI. This after there was a blow dealt by the Supreme Court. Well, not exactly a blow, but certainly a delay in the entire resolution process of one of the longest running cases in IBC, and that is the SR Steel resolution. It's that mammoth 40,000 crore rupee debt that is owed by the company to lenders led by SBI. SBI, of course, does have the highest exposure to SR Steel, and now the Supreme Court has essentially delayed, or just let's say halted, the ArcelorMittal payments that was to be made after the NCLAT gave the nod to Arcelor to acquire SR Steel. So the case is going to go on for some time now, and hence you saw the crack come by in SBI stock price. Soumya, what is Credit Suisse view on Havells?
Well, Credit Suisse have downgraded the stock from neutral to neutral, and with a target price of 780 per share. They say that the valuations out here are a little stretched, and they've estimated cap on the upside. Well, they expect overall moderation in revenue growth is likely from here on, and they see that the Lloyd will see pressure this summer season. Well, that's what is particularly to be noted here. They see that there could be some pressure on the Lloyd sales this summer season, so they are maintaining, or they've downgraded the stock to neutral with a target price of 780 per share. The stock down by over 1.4%.
Okay, interestingly, Citi, for its peer, does not seem to be that negative when it comes to Voltas. We'll address that later after the break. But Vedanta, meantime, as well, has some news coming in. This after the Supreme Court has refused to allow the company access to the Tuticorin plant that it had requested yesterday, given the delay of the case that is currently in the hands of the Madras High Court. Not just that, the Supreme Court has also dismissed the company's plea to expedite the Tuticorin plant's case hearing. So not good times for Vedanta. The stock price saw a sharp crack after this news was released. Okay, I just want to very quickly address the Nifty as well before we slip into that short break, because just as we speak, in the last couple of minutes, the sharp downtick that was witnessed in the Nifty, and in fact, just as we speak, we are at the day's low at 11,588. Just in the last couple of minutes, selling pressures really come in and kicked in for the equity markets. We'll take a very short break right here on the show. Come right back. The countdown will continue. We are counting down to the big movers and shakers in trade. Stock number 16, Future Consumer. Ashish, a great momentum once again witnessed here. What would be your verdict here?
See, Future Consumer is moving in a range of around 52 as a resistance on the upside and support coming around 40 levels. There is a possibility we might start seeing this stock moving up again towards the resistance zone. So the overall outlook remains on the buy side over short term, and one can buy at CMT. The stop loss of 43.55 for the target of 47.15.
Future Consumer is higher by 4% and there's a sharp uptick witnessed on an intraday basis. Soumya, what does Citi have to say about Voltas?
Well, talking about Citi on Voltas, they're maintaining a buy stance with a target price of 690 per share. Well, they say that upcoming summer season would hold the key for the company, and the investors should, the investors should brace in for a weak Q4. But at the same time, the stock has been gaining for the past 3 days. Even today, even though the stock is up by 0.5%, it was at day's high and has given up those gains and has settled at around 0.5% gains today.
Okay. Moving on to another stock that was a big buzzer yesterday, but today it's taking a bit easy. Swati, what would be your view on a GSFC?
See, yesterday we have seen a very good momentum on this particular counter. It was just trading above its 200-day moving average, which comes to at 105, 106 level. But again, it fails to sustain above that level. Also, the interesting fact that from 2018, if we look the monthly chart, also it's just trading in a lower channel formations. It is, as of now, it is just came on the verge of giving a breakout of that downward channel, which comes to at 106, 107 odd levels. I will suggest those who are looking for a buy position, they can definitely create a long position only above 106 levels. If it manages to give a closing basis, then can take a buy call above 106 level. I'm looking for a target of 118 to 120 levels, and one can place a stop loss of 100 rupees on a downside.
1.7% gone. Swati recommends you could hold on, or rather buy above 106 rupees for GSFC. Well, here's another brokerage recommendation. CLSA is quite optimistic on Lemon Tree Hotels. They have a buy with a target at 89 rupees per share. They have flagged off two key changes. One is an important acquisition made by the company, and of course a new management contract. Now these two factors really give the company opportunity to help gain scale. The acquisition, in fact, according to CLSA, will add 26% to the owned room count and 55% to the managed room count. And of course it also brings the company closer to the target of 12,000 rooms by 2021. So it's an important note, and you are seeing the stock price as well gain more than 2%. Ashish, let's talk about Lupin then. We're seeing a lot of momentum over there today in trade pricing action witnessed. You have a buy here. Why is that?
See, we have started seeing some positive traction on the overall pharma space, and Lupin has formed a double bottom near the zone of 700. It has shown a very smart recovery, and there is a possibility we can see it moving towards the level of 871 on the upside. So long positions can be created here, keeping a stop loss of 804 and expecting it to move towards 875, probably higher.
All right. Well, moving on to the next stock, or should I say sector, to the insurance space. Yesterday as well, stocks like HDFC Life, ICICI Lombard were gaining very smartly. Today as well, and ICICI Lombard is at a lifetime high. HDFC Life as well is gaining very smartly, Soumya.
Well, yes, correctly you said, Mobina, the entire insurance pack has been gaining very smartly for the past few days. So talking about particularly about HDFC Life, just like you said, that it's been gaining for the past two sessions and has gained more than 5% in this period. Even yesterday, the stock went up on delivery buying. The delivery volumes were up by 110% versus compared to the 5-day average, and the total volumes were up by over 121% compared to its 5-day average. So the stock today also is gaining by over 1.6%.
That certainly is a sector that's buzzing big time. Let's talk about Zee Entertainment, which of course currently with the along with its promoter family or promoter group SL is trying to pay off FMPs, so it's really in the eye of the fire. But Zee Entertainment, Swati, what would you recommend here?
Well, Bubina, overall my view is cautious on this particular counter. From the last 2 months, we are seeing that the continuously stock is trading in the low tops, low bottoms formation. So this indicates on a technical parameter that we have seen we are going to see some selling pressure more, which might come down stocks towards 390 odd levels. So those who are like looking for a short, they can definitely create a short calls below 410 level. I believe that it might come down to 380 to 390 levels, and one can keep a stop loss of 420 levels on the upside.
Here's another important news coming in. This time it's for GVK Power. Today's ET has reported that GVK has actually moved closer to resolving a dispute over plans by its partners, the airport companies South Africa and Bidwest Services, to sell their stake in the Mumbai International Airport. That in turn would help stave off a takeover bid by the Adani Group. GVK in fact has offered in the Delhi High Court to frame an agreeable formula to acquire the shares. We did see the stock price actually gain in the beginning of the trading session, but subsequently it's lost out a lot of steam and is in fact at the day's low. Ashish, Infibeam as well, we've been seeing a lot of volatility in the stock price recently. Today it's high by more than 3%. Your view here?
See, Infibeam is again trying to form some base after very sharp correction that we saw months back, and I think there is a possibility the stock can inch higher over short term. It's best to let only the traders take a call here, not investors, because this is a trader's favorite stock and not investment wise you might not make much. Go long here, keeping a stop loss of 45.80 for the target of 49.6.
Well, unfortunately with that we're out of time on this edition of the show, so thanks for watching, and of course Swati and Ashish, thanks for giving in your technical recommendations. Soumya, to you as well. We'll wrap it up. Coming up next is Markets at Noon.